Welcome to eDiscovery Leaders Live, where I get a chance to chat with luminaries in eDiscovery and related areas. This broadcast is sponsored by Reveal-Brainspace, the industry's leading AI eDiscovery platform. Don't forget to subscribe to watch me, George Socha, weekly with leaders in eDiscovery. Thank you for tuning in. Good afternoon. I am George Socha, Senior Vice President of Brand Awareness at Reveal. This is eDiscovery Leaders Live, hosted by ACEDS and sponsored by Reveal. We are broadcasting live this week. It's been all week from Legal Week in New York. We can barely talk coherently if we can get any sounds out of our voice at all.
Yeah.
And it's right at the end of the conference, and I have the privilege of having with me Zach Warren of ALM. Zach, tell folks who you really are, and then let's talk about the conference.
Who really am? Well, I'm a dog owner. I have two of those. I like baseball. No, hey, everybody. I'm Zach
and
Warren.
You live a few miles away from me.
I do live a few miles away from you in Minnesota. That is true. Yeah. I'm Zach Warren. I'm editor-in-chief of ALM's Legaltech News, where you'll most often find my byline. You'll also see me on law.com, The American Lawyer, Corporate Counsel, and all over Legal Week this week. I've been doing a lot. I am tired. It is the end of the week, but happy to be here with you.
So here we are, a year off through COVID.
Yep.
We're back. It's the end of a very busy week for us. How
great. Honestly do. I mean, just people are so excited to be seeing people in person face to face, which let alone everything that normally happens around Legal Week with the parties and the walking through the exhibit hall and the panels and the energy. But I think it was ramped up to 11 this year with everybody just happy to be able to pass people in the hallway and say, hey, what's up? You're not a face on a Zoom screen. You're an actual three-dimensional person. It's fun.
Yeah. And I think many people coming up to the conference were more than a little nervous that if they came, they would be the only people here.
Oh, 100%.
I have some impressions of what attendance has been like, but what can you tell me about attendance here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the official ALM numbers, so don't want to give numbers, but it seemed like it was solid. I think maybe a tiny bit fewer people than in 2020, which might be expected.
Right.
But I also think that meant the caliber of attendee was high. Yeah. Like what I've heard from my conversations is more, you didn't get as many people who just kind of wanted to go through the exhibit hall and pick up swag. Everybody who was here wanted to be here, was excited to be here. And I know from the company perspective as well, meetings were booked full the entire week and business was happening, which is what Legal Week has prided itself on in the past, and I think did again this year.
And you mentioned excitement. The level of excitement here was much greater than I remember at the last few Legal Weeks or other conferences pre-COVID.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't want to say that things were getting stale because it wasn't. There was new things happening each year, but I think for the people, absence makes the heart grow fonder is what they say to a certain extent. And I think 2+ years off, that was definitely the case with people where they remembered why they love being among their colleagues again and why they love coming to conferences like this, why they love being able to listen in on panels and get that education, because it's tough to get so many smart people in one place like you do at something like Legal Week. So it was just kind of, it jog the fires, I think, for people that, hey, I actually do like going to these conferences. This isn't a burden. It's a place where I get to be with other people who are like me.
Of course, there were 80 some sessions?
Yeah, something like that.
There's no way you could have attended all of them.
No.
Possibly not any of them. I don't know what your schedule has been like. Have you at least heard how the sessions have gone?
Yeah. So I was in a few, and then I went to one or two others, but all things told, I think it went very, very well. Maybe something weird to say on an ACEDS and Reveal podcast, that I think it expanded beyond e-discovery, and there were so many different types of legal tech problems and solutions and things to think about. Particularly, there's a big in-house presence here, maybe a lot more than in years past. So there is more topics of legal operations and contracts and what exactly the future innovation looks like from a corporate context. You also saw a lot in terms of legal research and kind of how things are happening in the back office with practice management. And then I think you saw a lot of conversations that everybody's been having over the past 2 years, conversations like remote work. What does that look like ethically? That was the session that I just moderated a little bit ago. There's also a lot of conversations about diversity and inclusion, and specifically within the legal tech space, how do you get more diverse founders within legal tech? How do you increase the diversity of legal tech companies? So it was a very wide range of things, as it kind of has to be with 80 panels. But I think all of them, at least the people that I've talked to, were very happy with how it all turned out.
Well, and maybe it's strange to be talking about it on an ACEDS Reveal broadcast, or maybe not, but I agree. I think it's much healthier that this not just be a conference about e-discovery, because lawyers need to use all sorts of technology in these days, virtually every aspect of what they do.
It's true.
And you touched on that. At least you had a session with the keynote yesterday morning. I was there. You touched on more than a little bit of that there.
Yeah, that was the future state of the industry with me and Tomek Jankowski, who's with ALM Legal Intelligence. And they called that the future state of the industry, because what they're really trying to do is prognosticate out. And legal technologists obviously know about, hey, there's so much changing from the technology standpoint, but from a very macro view as well, things like, what if you get rid of Model Rule 5.4 of the ABA? What does that mean for non-lawyer ownership of firms? How does that affect firms? A lot in terms of data privacy, from a very big question of, there are so many changing laws, not just California, Virginia, Colorado, but all over the place. What does that look like? Internationalization of the profession as well is huge. So there's so many of these big questions that, frankly, we didn't really have answers, and we didn't really try, just because there is so much changing that by the time we're here this time next year, it could be a completely different ecosystem, but that's what makes it exciting.
So it's more like issue spotting and tracking progress.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that there is a lot of progress even within the past 2 years since we were here last time that has been made.
Yeah. Anything about this conference that really stood out for you?
I mean, other than just seeing people face to face again.
I think that's probably for many people the biggest thing that stood out.
The other thing that really stood out for me is, frankly, how many business-oriented conversations I was having, I guess. It's no secret that there has been a lot of venture capital money flowing in, a lot of consolidation within the industry, and especially as I was meeting with different companies and providers, that was the one thing that really stood out, is just a lot of people talking about market positioning and different avenues of sales and expansion into beyond, especially in the e-discovery context, beyond e-discovery into information governance and compliance and risk and investigations. So just an expansion of not only what the tools can do, but who these companies are is something I expect to see coming up very shortly, honestly.
Well, this conference has long been the place where deals are begun, deals are done, where new versions and new products are announced. And I know people have planned their development cycle around hitting this date as a target for probably decades.
Yeah, I think so. And that was one thing I've been joking with people that'll actually be nice, is the fact that this is in March now and will be in March in perpetuity versus February. So I think that could even help that perception a little bit, because people have a little more time to plan, be able to get things together. And then when you're here, you're really ready to hit the ground running.
Yeah, but we're starting a month later now from this point as opposed to last. But no.
How much are you really doing in January? I'm not doing much coming out of the holidays. I don't know about you. But.
No, I think a solid point. And you have the specific dates for next year set and announced, right?
Yep. So March 20th through 23rd will be next year's. We'll be back here in the New York Midtown Hilton. And yeah, I mean, I'm already excited to see everybody again because this really is the event that gives me story ideas and gets me set for pretty much everything I'm doing for next 9 months.
Well, any final parting comments for folks?
I just thank you to everybody who came up to me and chatted with me over the past couple of days, including yourself. We were able to chat before this, and it really does energize me and really reminds me of what I like about legal technology. I mean, we hired a new reporter at LTN about a month ago, and I was telling her, and she agreed that if we were in general business reporting or something outside of this little corner of the world that we call ours, it's much more combative, I guess you would say. A conference like this would be people just cutthroat looking for attention, and it wouldn't be the atmosphere that we're seeing here at Legal Week. So it makes me happy to be in legal technology, which, don't get me wrong, people are business savvy and want to do the best thing this is in service of their clients, but it's in a respectful and cordial way that really makes it fun to be here, fun to talk with people, and makes me glad to be part of this community.
Well, thank you, Zach. I too look forward to, I too have had a great time here. I'm exhausted. I'm sure you are as well.
Very.
And I'm already looking forward to this place, this time, next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm George Socha. This has been eDiscovery Leaders Live, hosted by ACEDS and sponsored by Reveal. And our final guest of this conference is Zach Warren of ALM. Zach, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.